How does BoosterBot view the chart and how does it perform analysis? Now we will practically go through everything together. Which levels it prioritizes, how it performs analysis, and most importantly, how it views the chart. This information is necessary for you to have a clearer understanding of how to work with it, and when it might be better to skip trading altogether. Since it is artificial intelligence and its task is to analyze the chart, it can do this 24/7, unlike us. In general, we will now go through all these points. It will be quite useful. So subscribe and give a like, and we move on. So let's, for example, choose the first currency pair, dollar, Canadian dollar. Let's open a trade for $170, not too much. And let's see what BoosterBot will say now. I choose the trade duration, 1 minute. I check everything on the platform once more. Everything matches. And I receive a buy signal. I open a buy trade right from here. Let's analyze why BoosterBot gave me a buy signal. Now, it seems we have a downward movement here, as we can observe. But at the last moment, the price moved very actively downward. Then it encountered, or rather, here it met the first resistance, here the second, and couldn't break through it. That is, this level, which is below, the price couldn't break through. At this moment it turned around and went higher. So now potentially we can reach approximately this level, and then we will have a final decision, whether we will go higher or go down. That is, at the moment, for 1 minute, BoosterBot is confident that we will now reach approximately this level. But again, this level is, as I assume, BoosterBot might see it a bit differently. I will show you further how it sees the chart and what it is based on. A very confident trade for 1 minute, and it brings me a good profit. At the very least, BoosterBot can analyze horizontal and vertical volumes. That is, we have these horizontal volumes. This is the area where the price accumulates the most. What does this mean for us? If, for example, the price is moving, actively growing, and at this moment reaches this horizontal level, and accordingly it gets stuck there, it cannot move higher or lower. And so accordingly we have these levels. Look, here once, here twice. That is, we draw a horizontal line here and here. And we see that precisely at these two levels where we had the most horizontal volumes, the price got stuck. And everything between these volumes, the price was growing very confidently. This is an example of how BoosterBot can perform analysis. And for example, what I think is that right here we have a large volume, which we will most likely reach, and here the fate will be decided whether we go higher or lower. This was the first example. And let's see how BoosterBot generally performs analysis. The very first thing BoosterBot does in its analysis is look at financial news, which comes out almost every day. For example, we can observe yellow and red news. If yellow news hardly affects the price, red news creates a very strong impulse. You can see an example image on your screen right now. This is an example of financial news that affects the market. And not only do they pull the entire market with them, but they also affect the market's condition after these news events. That's why BoosterBot first analyzes them and then moves on to the rest. So when we don't have financial news, for example, here we see that we only have news about the Canadian dollar and the British pound. Accordingly, it is precisely for these two currency pairs that BoosterBot will conduct the main analysis and make decisions based on the news. For all other currency pairs, it will perform a regular analysis. I hope that's clear. And let's move on to the rest of the analysis. Another very important point is that BoosterBot currently has 94 indicators, which we constantly try to iterate and improve. Let me show you, for example, what 6 indicators look like. If we add 6 indicators to the chart, we can't see the chart itself. Therefore, it's better to use at most 1 indicator along with BoosterBot. If you want to trade independently, then keep at most 2 indicators for yourself. This way, you can see the chart more safely and clearly. But with BoosterBot, we use a maximum of 2 indicators. These are RSI and CCI. They will guide you on when it's better to open a trade or not. If you want a more detailed video about this, then write about it in the comments and I will make a review of these 2 indicators. By the way, right now you can join our Telegram channel and find even more strategies and indicators here that will help you grow. Also, our team shares useful information every day that will help you earn money. Here's an example of our team being at the top on pocket option. You can check it yourself and really see for yourself. If you want to join us for copy trading, then send us a private message to our support account with the phrase "I want to join copy trading," and soon we will connect you to our account. Well, let's move on. For example, let's take the currency pair Australian Canadian dollar. We'll delete everything from here and try to get a signal for it. Let's see what BoosterBot tells us. We select the currency pair and the trade time is also 1 minute. And I receive a sell signal. Right from here, I open a 1 minute sell trade. Let's analyze what's happening here. To understand the situation, we need to mark approximately these levels that have influenced the price. These levels, as you can see, are located lower, and indeed the price constantly interacted with them here, and in many other places. So we marked these two levels. What do we need to do next? Why did we mark them at all? If we look at the movement of this chart, at the moment we have a good downward trend. Accordingly, after this downward movement, why did BoosterBot issue a sell signal? It's actually very simple. We had one price stop, two price stops, and now we had a very small third price stop. In principle, it is even happening at this moment, but these levels below act like a kind of magnet. We recall the horizontal levels, and accordingly BoosterBot sees that there is still potential below and it can move lower, and accordingly it issues a sell signal for 1 minute. I am even sure that if we were doing an analysis for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, we would still get a sell signal because there is a good downward movement here and all the main volumes are below. Let's even verify this. We open the currency pair Australian Canadian dollar and indeed compare the chart. We look, here we have the downward movement that we just saw. Here it is. We look at where our main volumes are. These are exactly the volumes that I noted. Accordingly, this area will interest us. We can even mark it this way. And we see that we indeed reached it, exactly what I was saying. That is, here the factor was that we had no volumes here and here below. They were large. Plus the trend movement equals a 1 minute downward trade. This is an example of a smart trade with BoosterBot. Let's look at the currency pairs that should be skipped with it. If you see approximately this kind of movement, it happens quite rarely, but nevertheless it does happen. Exactly, this kind of movement. If you see it, it's better to skip it. Just remember once and for all, we only use good confident movement. If the price moves in approximately this way, we skip it. Remember this. This is immediately a losing trade even with all the capabilities of BoosterBot. No sensible trader would open a trade here. We are looking for normal currency pairs that are moving either downwards, upwards, or have good potential movement. Even in sideways movement, we must have order. Now, I'll try to find an example. For example, here we have a sideways movement, but everything is in perfect order here. That is, the price does not move in this manner, but it moves very smoothly, from the lower point to the upper one. And accordingly, we can conduct analysis here. Here we can draw the first line, the second line, and then perform analysis based on them. We use such currency pairs. Approved? By the way, I've already made a 50% increase to my deposit, and let's open the next final trade for $560 and analyze how the BoosterBot views the chart. By the way, right now you can observe an example of the news I was talking about. Such currency pairs are better to skip. As you can see, we have movement in the dollar here, but even this movement pulls up all the other currency pairs. Everything that is connected to us, especially with the dollar, we can see we have such a sharp movement happening. And accordingly, we should skip such movement because it is very risky to trade on it. But if you trade such movement, then work with the BoosterBot and you can earn calmly. Let's even try to do such an analysis together with the dollar and the Japanese yen. This is quite a tense currency pair right now, influenced by the news. That's why I want to get a signal from the BoosterBot and see how it handles this task. I receive a buy signal and open a buy trade right from here. Let's analyze why the BoosterBot gave me a buy signal. We can observe that overall there is a good upward movement here. Many won't see it, but indeed we have such a corridor that is constantly growing. What can we see next? Our price has currently reached approximately this volume, this level, and has bounced off it slightly. That is, most likely we will now go to update these highs. Let's observe the price now, and at the same time I suggest we look at the one volumes. What happened here? If we enlarge this chart, we will see that indeed the volumes were very large on this currency pair, and they are exactly here, precisely where the price is currently heading. There weren't many volumes here, which allowed us to make such a news-driven impulse. Alright, let's observe this trade. And by the way, when news is released, our technical analysis doesn't work very well. Here it's necessary to analyze the news and interest rates specifically. A great $400 come to my balance and I earned more than twice as much in this video, a total of $900. You can achieve the same result by simply following the link in the description and activating the BoosterBot. It is absolutely free and available to all our subscribers. You just need to subscribe to us and activate this bot. The link to it will be in the description. I remind you to subscribe to this channel and give it a like. And also, don't forget to comment on this video. With that, I will say goodbye to you. See you soon.